Hi, and welcome to Mark's Motivational Podcast for a brand new season six. So today I'm delighted to be joined by another great author, Daniel Williamson. Is that correct, Daniel? Yeah,
Daniel Willamson, yeah.
yeah, cool. So you're very welcome onto the show. Thanks a lot for joining me.
Cheers. Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, great. Do you want to start off the podcast? If you want to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and the books you've written, would be great. Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
sure.
you've got a lot of books published there.
Yeah, yeah, I've
Yeah,
been really busy last few years. So I'm a self-published children's picture book author.
yeah,
I started writing about 4 years ago. I was doing script writing as kind of a hobby, and then at the time my mum had a Montessori nursery, so she had like 35 kids, all 2 to 5, running around her garden all the time. So I just thought, why don't I transition into children's picture books?
hmm
So I started writing a few stories, just normal rhyming stories for young children, and sending them to her, and she would read them to the kids, and she'd say, "Oh yeah, they really love the stories. You should really keep going with this." So I sent them off to lots of publishers in London, and they all rejected me. So at that point, I was like thinking, well, I think I'm going to have to self-publish, basically. I was kind of knew that was the route I was going to have to take. And at the same time, a friend of mine mentioned that she couldn't find any picture books to help teach her daughter Italian. So I thought, well, that's interesting. I'd already studied multiple foreign languages at school, and I loved languages. So I did some research and realized there wasn't really any books like that out there. So I kind of decided at that point my inroad into self-publishing would be to create a story about a young boy who wants to learn a new language to make new
Good
friends,
stuff. Yeah.
and then I would be able to use one story and one set of artwork to get lots more books out of it. So I launched that first series of 6 bilingual picture books in December 2019, and then they took off. They did really well. So a few months later, I did 4 more languages. I did on 4 more of the most commonly spoken languages in the world. And then after that 10, the sort of revenue from those enabled me to sort of follow my true passion, which is the rhyming picture books. Some of the stories I'd previously sent my mum, I was able to then start getting those drawn up, and I just did 7 of those in a row. Um, and then I went back and did another bilingual series, which was released a couple of months ago. So yeah, I did manage to get to 27 books in 2.5 years, which has obviously been a lot of work and done very quickly.
Well done. That's incredible. Really
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And what age group are they for? What age group are they for, Daniel? Different age groups
So
or?
the bilingual books, they say for a story for ages 3 to 6 on them. However, the main reason I put that on there is because the publisher told me that you need to sort of have that to sort of really hone in on your sort of desired target market, which is my
Yeah.
core, the ages that are my core market. However, I've heard of children as young as 1 and as old as 9, 10
Mm.
enjoying the bilingual books, because it really depends on the child and what stage they're at in their language learning, whether they're just, picking it up for the first time. Sometimes, before they've even spoken English, there's a bilingual parent who wants them to hear his or her mother or father tongue while they're, reading stories
Mm.
to them at night. So that's a handy thing. And then my rhyming picture books, I would say probably around sort of 2 to 7 children. Once they get to sort of
Yeah.
7 or 8, they tend to think, well, I'm too grown up now to read a picture book. They start
Yeah. Yeah.
reading proper chapter books, so.
Mm. That's absolutely brilliant. Like I love the idea of different languages for kids because, as you know, from 1 to 7, they're like sponges, like So,
Mm.
what I'd like you to do is share the links as well to your books so I can put them in the show notes for people to pick up as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Christmas is coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Brilliant. And have you always been a writer yourself? Where did the journey begin for yourself?
No. Do you know what? I when my daughter was born, 8 years ago, I just decided I wanted to do something else. I wanted to have something else that
Yeah.
I could build,
Mm.
that she would enjoy, but also something that was mine that I could really sort of build on, and sort of be proud of, but also something that I could pass down to her someday as well. So that's
Mm.
why I kind of went into it, and yeah, I've gone into it sort of full steam ahead, basically. So yeah, it's going good. I'm really enjoying it still as well.
Great stuff. Where can people get your book? And I know it's probably Amazon. Can you get them in any bookshops as well? Have you ventured to
Yeah.
bookshops and libraries and stuff?
Yeah, so they're all on Amazon at the moment, and that's the main area where I sell them. They are online on like Waterstones, Barnes and Noble, Kmart, some other outlets online. But next year I'm going to be focusing on trying to get them into the physical stores more as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
especially like Waterstones, maybe WH Smith's, places like that. I want to start getting my books on the shelves, you know. But yeah, for now, nearly all sales go through Amazon at the moment.
Great stuff. And do you have a picture? Do you have a book to show people? Because this is going to be on YouTube as well for
Oh yeah.
people
Oh,
who are
is it?
watching.
Okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
No, cool. Sorry. Thanks.
Yeah, let me just get something. Hang on.
Yeah, sounds
So,
absolutely brilliant. Like, what a great idea.
yeah, so here's just a couple of examples. This is probably one of my most popular rhyming picture books. It's called T-Rex Twins, The
That's
Brothers with
brilliant.
Arms.
Yeah.
And that one, I like to try and get us kind of a message through in my books. This one's about two T-Rex twins who, instead of being born with little claws, they're born with super long arms. So they look different, they feel different. You know, the other dinosaurs tease them a bit because they are different and they don't want to play with them necessarily at the start. And then they kind of outcast them, and in their lowest moment, they invent the world's first hug called a dino hug to comfort each other. And then they go on to solve problems only dinosaurs with long arms can solve. And then they're very popular by the end of the story because all these other dinosaurs want one of these dino hugs. So that's a real good, like, feel good one that I always do when I
Great
do my
stuff.
free
Yeah.
school visits. This one's a good example as well. This one's called the Easter Rooster. So I've made the Easter Bunny the villain in this one, just
Yeah, yeah.
just to flip the script a bit and be a little bit different. So in this one, every year the Easter Bunny comes and steals the chicken's eggs, and the rooster is like the defender of the coop. So he has to chase the bunny down and try and get the eggs back. So it's a kind of a real comical sort of Looney Tunes style one.
Yeah.
Which is nice to sort of do something a bit different, I think.
Definitely.
So many books out there about the fluffy Easter bunny, and they're all very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I like to try and come at it from a different angle, really. And I'll just show you quickly my language books as well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So hang on a sec.
And what ones are the most popular yourself, Daniel? What ones have been the most popular for yourself?
So the first series is my Look at Me, I'm Learning series, which is all about learning the basics of a foreign language. So they've all just got like two lines of text on each page. So this is an example. Look at Me, I'm Learning Italian. My most popular is, funnily enough, Look at Me, I'm Learning Brazilian Portuguese. And I can only assume that's because I have less competition in that area. But all the pages are like this, just a couple of lines of text, and then you do things like learning to count to 10, and then it's just a real nice, easy way and a fun way for young children to get into another language or start to learn or take an interest. And then my follow-up series is this one. It's called Look at Me, I'm Going to Germany, I'm going to Italy, I'm going to France. This one's bilingual as well, but it's a lot more about learning about the cultural differences, and things like art, history, food, music, all things that you would want a child to learn, just to get a basic introduction to that country. But it's bilingual as well, so it just felt like a natural follow-up to the series.
Jeez, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Like, I'm looking for, I must buy some of that myself because I've got a 5-year-old, so I can see, like, because that's what learning's all about, is making it fun. So well done for that.
Yeah, totally. That's what it was always about. That was the main thing that I found when I did my research at the start, when I was looking into the bilingual books, was that there was loads of bilingual books out there, but they were all very boring looking textbooks, and none of them seemed to be very endearing to young children at all. So that's where I decided at that point I want all the illustrations to be big and bright and colourful, lots of flowers and rainbows and butterflies and things like that. but also just have a very minimal amount of text. I didn't want the child to get bored of reading the text, and just to have a couple of lines to go through, look at the pictures, and then move on to the next page. And they're all quite short as well. I think they're about 30 pages, so about
Yeah,
right for a
no, that
kid's
makes
book.
perfect sense. Like, you know, for that type of audience, for a young audience like that. So that's great.
Yeah.
Does it take you long to write your books, Daniel? Does it take you long to write them?
I always get asked this question when I do my school visits, and I always say,
Yeah,
fantastic question,
yeah,
because it's really different for every book.
yeah, okay, yeah,
I've got one book called The Bee That Made Jam, which is the first rhyming picture book I published. That one took me about an hour to write. I
okay,
was super quick, really, really quick. I've a little bit of editing after that, and I was like, great, that's done. But then there's other books that, you know, they take months and months and months.
yeah,
You
yeah, of
just
course,
can't
yeah,
quite get it right. You think, I've got to take that part out, I've got to put another part in, this
yeah,
rhyme isn't quite right, and you
yeah,
fiddle with it and edit it. So it really varies and depends on the book. And the bilingual series, they take a long time. I really want to focus more on my rhyming picture books now, because I
yeah,
do kind of enjoy them more. That's really more of my passion. But the bilingual books, there's a lot of editing. Obviously I do the story, my artist does the artwork, my designer puts it all together. But the story, it has to be checked and checked again,
yeah,
by my translators. And for every book, I've had to have not one but two professional translators, one to translate it and another one to check their work,
mm,
because going to publication, you can't afford to have any mistakes. Spelling, grammar, it all has to be absolutely
oh,
perfect.
yeah,
So there's
yeah.
a lot of work involved.
There's a lot of work, yeah, Cheney, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, no, it's good to kind of comment on the artwork. It's absolutely brilliant. Like, you know,
Mm.
the design, it's done a great job there.
Mm. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with my artist. He's a really nice guy. I
Mm,
found him putting an advert up on Upwork for my first bilingual series,
yeah,
and he did
yeah,
such a good job. I was like, I think I'm gonna, let him do my rhyming picture bits. And then
mm,
every time I sent him a story, he just came up with such great artwork.
wow, yeah,
He never charged me too much. We have a great working relationship, so I've stuck with him and my designer for all 27 books. We've done them all together.
yeah. That's great. When you find somebody like that, it's a jackpot when you find somebody like that, isn't it?
Totally, yeah. I did,
Yeah,
I tested the water here and there. There's some people I couldn't keep on.
mm,
But because I found sort of a good team, I've been really happy to just keep rolling stuff out with them. And I've got to the stage now where, it's like my bilingual series, I can still keep introducing new languages because I've already got
mm,
the book, the artwork, the template, the story, just needs translating, and then I can actually just give that to my designer to do, which takes a workload off of my artist and frees him up to focus more on maybe like the rhyming picture books or something. So yeah,
yeah,
so it's quite a good system, works quite well.
yeah. No, absolutely brilliant, Daniel. Absolutely brilliant. Well done. And can I just ask you as well, kind of, do you have a strategy when you're writing? Do you have a kind of a strategy you use, like, you know, a certain amount of words? I know, like, you've got short will only take an hour, but just say the ones that take a bit longer. What would you have a kind of strategy that you like to share with people?
So normally, one of the most important things I say, especially to children when I do my school visits who maybe want to be a writer, is I say the
Mm,
most important thing is if you get an idea, just write it down. Even if it's just the title or
mhm.
an idea you want to happen in a book, you've got to write it down or put it in your phone or something, because you can just revisit that and go back to it. I've got a list of about 30 books I want to do in my
Yeah, yeah.
in my phone.
Yeah.
But then, one or two you might just keep thinking about, thinking, yeah, I really want to do that one next.
Mhm.
Like for me, I want to do more school visits next year. I want to get into SEN, which is children with special needs. Um,
Stuff, yeah.
and that, there's a book I want to do, but which is an anti-bullying book. So logically, that's the next one for me to do. But when I decide to write a book, I'll always just sit down and just draw a spider graph and just put the title in the middle and
Mm,
offshoots of the main character, who's going to be the villain. What obstacles are there going to be, blah blah blah, and just get a real sort of rough picture in my head of what's going on. However, this probably isn't the right way to do it, but I just kind of get so excited when I get enough that I just start writing. But
yeah.
then even that process, I'll write a four, you know, most of my pages are like 4 lines in rhyme, and very often I'll cut out at least a third or more of those and just go, and that's not good enough, or it's not moving the story in the right direction. So there's always
Yeah.
loads of editing after.
Well, that sounds brilliant. Yeah, and I wish you all the best with the books. They're absolutely fabulous. They're really, really good. And
Cheers.
what kind of keeps you motivated as well, Daniel? Like in your writing, because it's a motivational kind of podcast as well. So, um, is there something that keeps you motivated when you're doing your children's books?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, how much my daughter loves my books and the fact that they're dedicated to her, that's a big one.
Yeah,
Also, what I found really helps, because I mean, I think as an author, it can be easy to get a bit down sometimes if like your online sales aren't so great,
yeah,
or you know, you feel like you're, I don't know, not wasting your time, but you feel like maybe it's not going as well as you want it to, it's not taking off as quick as you want it to. What I find really helps is doing the free school visits. I love doing those; they're brilliant.
yeah.
I mean, the children look at you like you're someone famous, and I'm really not, but
That's great.
that's fantastic, and it's a lot of fun. But also getting out there and selling my books in person as well. So I do markets and I do shopping malls and things like that, and I always sign the books for people, anyone that wants to buy one. You know, the same price, but it's
Mm,
just nice to sign them, and you get so many nice positive comments off of
yeah,
parents and children
mm,
as well. But that, you know, it's just a real it's real great motivation for the parents to be like, oh, this is so great what you're doing, you know, it's
mm.
brilliant. Some of them are like, well, have you not got this language, or have you not got that language, or
Yeah.
you know, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying, you know, it's on my list, but you know,
Yeah.
always got lots to do. But yeah, that's really made a big difference over the last sort of year that I've been getting out there in person and selling them, and seeing all the nice positive comments and stuff, you know.
Yeah, thankfully you can do that again after COVID. Like COVID must have been a real struggle for you.
Yeah, I wasn't actually selling in person
Yeah.
pre-COVID anyway, and obviously I
Okay.
couldn't during. But what happened with me was I had another job as well.
Mm,
I was published for 6 months, and then I took redundancy from my old job.
mm.
And then I had a year to really focus on my books. So I really used that time
Good
productively, you
stuff.
know.
Yeah.
And during that time, I wrote the majority of my rhyming picture books. I introduced new language ones. It was just so handy to have that time to really like use it productively and be creative. And yeah, you know, I've got to where I am now, 27 books. You know, I've said to myself that hopefully if I get to 100 books, then I should be able to retire.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
I get there, that should
Mm,
hopefully be enough, and then that'll be all I do. But I mean, hopefully once I get to 50, that might be the case, you know. Just got
mm.
to keep going, because ultimately that's what I want to do. I want to be a full-time author.
Yeah.
Don't want to work for someone else. I just want to do what I love and what I enjoy, and you know, keep on getting my books out there and making people happy, you know.
Fair play. That's brilliant. Yeah. Well said.
Mm.
And can I just ask you as well, like your favorite authors yourself? Do you have like favorite authors that kind of inspire you as well, Daniel?
Yeah, absolutely. Roald Dahl, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I read so many of his books when I was a child, and you know, I have actually been sort of likened to him by some journalists out there, because of because my sort of fun wordplay. You know, I think that it doesn't really have to be rules when you're being creative or writing books. You know, if you
Yeah.
read Roald Dahl's books like The Twits or books like that, he just really plays on words so well and
Mhm.
makes up words when he wants to, and it fits and works so well, and it creates a sort of an extra sort of magical level, I think, to the books, because you know, when you're trying to come up with new stories, that's great, but if you can come up with new stories and new characters, and then also use you know, new vocabulary as well, it
Mhm.
just adds another level on top. I think it makes it extra special. So
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And do you have a favorite music as well? What's your favorite music to listen to?
oh, loads.
Yeah.
So much stuff. I mean, I've been a drummer since I was 13, so I love my live music. You
Mm.
know, I was into a lot of rock and, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers and
Oh, class. Yeah.
indie bands and stuff back then.
Mm.
Um, I really like Muse now, and
Oh,
Royal
yeah.
Blood, music
Class.
like that. I love going out to live gigs. But if I'm at home, you know, writing or relaxing, you'll normally listen to like deep house or something, just something that's quite repetitive and doesn't really go anywhere to
Yeah,
help
yeah.
me concentrate. But yeah, well, I just love so much different music, but I always love going to live gigs if I can, for sure.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you said there. Like, would you kind of listen to music in the background when you're writing? Do you ever do that yourself, Daniel?
Yeah, sometimes it depends.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just want silence. Sometimes I want something to keep me sort of motoring on. Like if I go to the gym, I need some sort of
Yeah,
repetitive music.
yeah, big time. Yeah.
I would say probably the best gig I've ever been to was Stevie Wonder. I got to see Stevie Wonder
Oh,
live
class. Yeah. Brilliant.
about 5, 6 years ago,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that
brilliant.
was incredible. Yeah.
That's that was a great gig. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I love
No,
my soul funk and Motown a lot as well.
no, it's great to be able to go back to gigs again, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic. Even
Brilliant.
just the
Yeah.
local ones, you know, just go to
Hmm.
ones like down the road.
Yeah.
It's been sorely missed, I think, over the last
Yeah.
couple of years for sure.
Yeah. Are you in a band yourself? You're in a band, are
No,
you?
not at the moment. No,
No.
I haven't played for about 8 years, but I'm
Okay.
considering getting back into it. Yeah,
Yeah, oh, that's
see how
great.
it
Yeah,
goes.
great stuff. Yeah, no,
Mm.
thanks a lot for coming on. Just your favorite films as well. I kind of asked the people that come on their favorite movies as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, so probably my favorite film of all time is Pulp Fiction,
Oh,
just
class.
because I
Yeah.
think
Good film.
it changed the whole way people made films,
Mm,
because of the fact that of the arrangement, you know, that was completely new,
mm,
but also just they just hit every um, they were just so great in every department, like you know
mhm,
the script, the characters, the casting, the acting, the originality. It was
mm.
just fantastic. And then I've got a favorite British film as well, which not everybody may have seen actually. It's called The Boat That Rocked. I don't know if you've ever seen that,
No, I've never seen that. No.
but it's a kind of based on a true story about a pirate radio station that's on a boat.
I actually
Um,
did hear of that. Yeah, I remember hearing
yeah,
that before. Yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
really good
great.
film. It's a British film with lots of great British actors in it. Bill Nighy's in it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one to check out.
Yeah, I must have a look at that. I haven't actually seen Pulp Fiction in years. I must check that out myself.
Yeah,
You put that's why I like asking these questions because you get
yeah.
some some great
Get some great ideas. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, great stuff. And your favorite place to travel? You like traveling yourself as well? Like, you must
I
have good
do,
all the
yeah.
languages. Yeah.
I'm very lucky. I've already traveled a lot of the world. I've been
Oh,
to
cool.
a lot of places. But my favorite has to be Brazil.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I've been there probably more than 20 times. I
Mm,
just love everything about it. Obviously, the weather's great, the beaches are fantastic, but
yeah,
also the food's beautiful. You know, they have nice wine. The music is fantastic.
yeah,
But then most of all, the people are just so warm and friendly
yeah, yeah.
and always like really happy. They call it com alegria, which means with joy. And yeah, that's just a great place to visit. So I'm hopefully going back at the end of the year.
Great. Yeah, that's one for the bucket list for me as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, do
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you'll have to do. Have you done a book in Irish? Yeah, have you? Yeah, there has to be.
I
I have to ask
haven't.
you that.
I haven't. No, I'll add it to my list.
Yeah, yeah. You get, a lot of my listeners will be looking for one of them, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really appreciate you coming on, Daniel. It's great talking to you, and your congratulations on your brilliant books.
Cheers. Thanks so
Yeah,
much. It's been great coming on as well.
yeah, great
Yeah,
stuff.
enjoyed it.
And maybe just one more thing, if you could kind
Yeah.
of give advice to first time authors or people getting into writing, what
Yeah.
advice would you give them to kind of keep themselves motivated?
Sure. So I always say the best thing about self-publishing is that anyone can do it, and
Hmm.
the worst thing about self-publishing is that anyone can do it. What I mean by that is it's completely accessible now. If you've got a great story in your head, you can really get it out there. You can get it out there for free as well.
Yeah.
If you're willing to teach yourself a little bit about formatting, you can totally do it 100% for free. You just need to sit in front of the computer and write, and then you know you can upload your files to Amazon.
Hmm.
They will distribute, they will publish, and they will do all the customer service for you, and then you get a cut of every sale. So the print on demand thing has really taken off now,
Hmm.
which is great because it means that the market decides basically. You're not relying on some big boss at the top of a corporate publishing house to say, yes, I'll publish your book. You can do it yourself now. So it's really, really accessible, So I would say totally go for it. When I say that, the worst thing about it is that anybody can do it, is that what I mean by that is that the market is becoming saturated because so many people are uploading books every day now.
Yeah.
So for anyone starting out, I would say I would advise to look into marketing about 6 months before you want to actually publish. You need to have a good understanding of the marketing side, and that's becoming more important every day because there's so much more competition all the time. You've got to find ways to help your book stand out. So obviously social media is one side, Amazon ads, Facebook ads, things like that. It's important to look into stuff like that. And there's a really good book, which isn't that big, but it's really sort of accurate, called How I Sold 80,000 Books. That's a really good one to get a sort of rough idea about all the different things you would need to do. So I'd recommend that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks a lot for sharing that, everybody. That sounds like solid advice there. Thanks very much.
No worries.
Yeah, and make sure you send your links as well to the book, so I can share them out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll share. Best to share my Amazon author page, and then people can go into that and they can have a bit more information about the books and have a little look through and see if they want to get hold of one.
Okay, so a big thank you for coming on the podcast, Daniel Williamson, everybody. So big thanks everyone for tuning in today's podcast, Mark's motivational podcast, Authors Tuesday. So all the best again, Daniel, with your sales of your book.
Cheers, Mark. Thanks so much for having me on.
Cheers, everybody.
And best of luck with the podcast and everything else. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Hello, everyone. Mark here. Thank you for watching another episode of my Authors Tuesday podcast. I recently published a book of children's stories called The Adventures of Larry Lamppost and Friends. The book began life as bedtime stories I wrote for my own children. If you'd like to purchase my book, follow the link in the description box below. By buying my book, you are also supporting my podcast series for authors, which is giving a voice to writers in Ireland and across the world.